right on target with the library pages. But then if we gave them a 10% raise, then we would be ahead of Solano County, right? I mean,
The
if we.
pages, let's see.
And I do think that there is something, I'm just curious if there's something to the county running a library versus us running the library. Do they have more money to work with? Do they have, you know what I mean? There's.
And Woodland is county as well, right? That, I mean,
YOLO.
YOLO, that's not a
Woodland's
private
YOLO.
district. So we're kind of, other than Benicia, we are kind of our own little island.
Yeah, no, in lots of ways we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
And we are small, and probably, I would say, and I don't know, you're in the library often, so maybe you can, we probably don't have to deal with as many things, issues maybe at our library than, say, I hate to pick on Vallejo, but say the Vallejo library, you know, some of the bigger cities
Yeah.
that are funded by the county. I'm sure that we don't have to deal with the same things that they have to deal with. I mean, just for example, homelessness in our city versus some of the bigger cities is drastically different.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that libraries have to deal with that often. Okay.
All right. Okay. Any other comments?
I don't think so. Do we want to look and see what Benicia is, just
Yeah,
to
we can
see if
do
that's
that.
helpful? I mean, I know that's getting more towards the Bay Area, but I'd just be curious to see how they are in line with the county, since they're not ran by the county. That would be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Sure.
So are you saying you want me to look up the Benicia salaries and add them to these studies?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
I just think that would be helpful, yes.
Okay.
That would be really
Sure.
great. Thank
Benicia
you.
Library?
Yeah, just because, right, and just to confirm, that's the other library in the county that's not ran by the county.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm just curious if the funding is different for each of those libraries versus a county library. So,
Okay.
okay, thank
you.
you.
Sure.
Okay, approval of the budget.
Well, unless I mean, the personnel budget is obviously a big part of the budget.
Okay,
So if we're gonna consider voting on that tonight, which by our policies, we're supposed to have it passed in May, I guess we can just go with the 100%, which would be keeping the salaries exactly as they are for the time being.
Then we can
Does
amend
that-
that if we need to.
Does that create problems, Gina, do you think?
I think at 100%, you know, there's the normal steps that some people might get and longevity bonuses, but I don't think it would be anything material. You know, it would definitely increase it, but it could be addressed again later if we just decided to go with the 100%.
Okay. Because I wouldn't want to like mess up things with the schedule as far as getting the budget done, because it won't be official until the month after next month when the minutes are signed.
Right, we're still okay. We've got another month that we can squeeze it in, and I think the first year we were here, we submitted our budget on August 15th.
Okay.
That time.
and with that, you know, if we're looking at, make sure that the new levels are in the packet as well, as to what you guys are asking for their amounts to be, because you talked about a librarian 3, but it's not in this packet as to what you're proposing they're paid.
Right, so is it 819,000 for salaries there?
819, I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
That doesn't include
The
the
new
4
addition.
new schedules.
Right.
So
okay,
that would be, for those people involved, I believe it was an additional 10% increase to create a
just
new
those few
schedule.
people.
Just those schedules.
So
Yeah.
do Solano and YOLO have library 3s?
Yeah,
And so,
I think they have 4s, 5s.
okay, so I would like to see, if we're going to talk about creating that position, not only what you're proposing for the salaries for that position, but also on that list what those counties have for their library threes.
Sure, I think there might even be,
The library,
Sorry,
they
we're
might have
asking
the
a lot
library
from
threes.
you.
no, that's all right.
For
We're going
thorough, though.
backward instead of forward.
No, that's all right. I'll look
Because,
at
I mean,
that.
the librarian 3 for us is not in there. And I don't,
We don't have one.
right, but I'm saying, I think, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think what you said, which I agree with, is we need to know exactly what's being proposed in terms of that position's duties and pay to set it aside from a librarian 2. But
Because, well, this is kind of interesting, sorry, it just occurred to me. So say we approved a library 3 position, and you said roughly, I'm not gonna quote you, it's 10%, right? For that one position, but then if we go to the 115, those people are getting like 25% raise. Well, 10%, then a 15%.
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
They're not two separate things. The 10% was built into the 20%. And it's built in such a way that Steve was going to move those people into a parallel step amount. So,
Yeah, the part where I said there wouldn't be a financial impact to
Yes.
creating the new positions.
right.
Because they'll start off.
And they would have
They'll
room
start
to
in a
grow.
different
Yes.
step.
Okay.
But then it'll give them room to improve more,
Yeah.
Okay.
instead of being stuck. I guess I just want to see the new positions, different grades,
Yes.
and how that compares with the other counties as well. Because I think if we're going to look at raising these, I'd want to look at each individual position. I don't want to do a flat rate increase and then have one position that's, even and one that we're now way ahead. And I think we need to adjust each position so that it's reasonable for the area.
Okay,
Right. See, like the librarian supervising on Solano County on the second page, it's step 1 is 36 and it's step 4 is $42 an hour. So
On what page?
Where was that?
that's on the second page of the Yolo County
Oh,
Oh, back there.
backup, the screenshots of the backup. So there's not going to be an exact comparable position to match apple to apple.
so librarian supervising over there, they don't have what's called a librarian 3. They just have librarian supervising.
yeah, and
And-
like you're looking at the YOLO positions, they have a variety: library branch supervisor, library central services manager, library circulation supervisor, regional manager, regional supervisor. So they have a lot more positions than we have.
Well, one of my challenges in doing this salary study was to find comparable positions. And so going to both of their websites where there's plenty of information and then searching for, library, not a specific library 1, not a specific library 2, but pull up all the libraries and then pull up all the clerks. There weren't any library clerks in one. I forget which county that was or who it was.
Probably yellow.
But when I pulled up clerks, I didn't see any library thing. So it was kind of a little investigation going on. So I'll do my best to get you what you want for next time. I'll work
Well,
with
thank
Steve.
you. I
Work with
appreciate
Steve
that.
and we'll,
Yeah, that will be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a good thing for the whole board to.
All right.
So we're tabling the budget till next time?
Do we need to vote?
Or are we going to do the 100% and then modify it later?
Did you say we can wait, or do you need it approved as is now?
no, if we can look at it in June and get it approved, that means in July, we would have the official approved minutes written. That is acceptable.
That's enough time?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So just looking at, we're gonna look at all the positions, even the current ones, and, look at each position to determine what raises, that, instead of just doing an across-the-board one,
Okay,
so.
And bring in the job description for the new position as compared to the librarian too, so we can see, okay, what are the duties, the supervisory or whatever duties that are gonna set that position apart to justify whatever we set the salary at, so we can have a better idea of how much, responsibility are those individuals gonna have that we need to compensate them for.
Yes.
Right. One of the things that I found when I was doing my research was the trend was to give these higher salaries to people that maybe didn't necessarily supervise people, but they ran a program. Maybe their IT contact for practically everything, although we don't have an IT department at Dixon Library. And that was a high-paying position. And another one, the IT, I guess the programs, certain programs too. So, and then, like we have the adult librarian, we have the children's librarian. To me, those are kind of like big programs.
Do we have any kind of bonus system set up so that if employees do something, above and beyond, that we can compensate them in some way other than their hourly rate?
We have no bonus system, we have no employee recognition. As a matter of fact, at a future meeting, I was going to bring up, I haven't talked to Steve about it yet, about a peer-to-peer recognition program, just so we could get something going in the library, but we have nothing.
Yeah, and I
like
don't think when dealing with tax dollars, you can't, at least the best of my knowledge, you can't just give bonuses.
Yeah.
Like, you could do something like some kind of stipend if you do a big project outside of your regular working duties. If you do that kind of project that's approved at the beginning of the year, this is what I'm gonna do to make this place better, there could be some kind of like a stipend for that.
Like a coaching position.
But I don't think, we can't give bonuses with tax dollars.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, was something like if someone takes on a bigger project related to, youth library access or something beyond what their normal hours are, then we set up some kind of a stipend to encourage employees to do different things and maybe make it known if we're going to try to start a program, there'll be an additional stipend for the employee that wants to take on this program, something like that.
Yeah, currently, we don't have anything like that. That, I believe, would be up to Steve and his staff to develop something. And I could certainly check in with Solano.
And see what kind of
See
recognition.
if anyone's doing anything like
Yeah,
that.
and see if they have something like that.
Well, and I do think we need to do some kind of recognition. Did you say that there's longevity pay? Is there
Yeah, there's
longevity pay?
longevity
Okay, so
pay.
there is some longevity pay, okay. Even if it's just that we do a luncheon or something to, recognize people with, I think that would be amazing.
Employee appreciation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think we were allowed to do that as a government. I have no
yeah,
idea.
I don't think so either, because we'd heard about people in Solano County, they threw an ice cream party for the staff, and they used public funding, and then the supervisor had to pay for it out of pocket once that was found out that they did that. So I don't know exactly.
At the school district, we do ice cream parties. at the
uh-huh,
end of the year.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We do it for the whole staff.
We do, we do a welcome back breakfast. It's kind of an appreciation, welcome back. Here's a good breakfast for everybody, and it gets them to mingle, camaraderie and that sort of thing.
I
To
don't-
me, that seems like a reasonable use of taxpayers' money
We do it
and a
with the
very immaterial minor amount to boost morale or
It might be
recognize.
nice can you look into that and see if other places do something like that, and for us to do just a small line item
Okay.
of the budget? It wouldn't cost very much.
Well, I'd like to tell you really quick about that peer-to-peer reward and recognition program. It's a quarterly recognition. The award winners are nominated by their peers. And so then one person has to be not eligible for it. That would be the director. So then he gets the nominations. And then each quarter, it's, I was thinking just like maybe even $100 a quarter. And I could find out from Solano how they handle that, because it'd probably be taxable to the employee. So to get them a paycheck, a net of $100, and then,
So you said Solano County does something like that?
no,
Oh, they
this
don't.
is just a peer-to-peer
I think-
recognition program I saw.
Although this kind of obviously touches on the budget, maybe we should put this on as a separate agenda item for a future meeting and have us, when you've done talk to some of them to see who's doing it, if anyone, give us some ideas of.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are doing it.
Okay.
I know we
This
do,
is-
my work does have that kind of a peer recognition program, but it's not a public entity.
Yeah, it's
so.
not
Right.
tax dollars.
Well, that's why I said peer-to-peer, and like $100 a quarter, that's $400 a year. I don't know. But, and the peer-to-peer, it's the kind of things that you nominate someone for good citizenship, or you can nominate someone for a new idea or their creativity, or you can nominate someone who went above and beyond, they gave superior service, or you can nominate someone who's working behind the scenes, or an employee that has the library going green. And so there's all kinds of things. But if, it would be wonderful if the library had its own program. And I just look to this as something to help out.
Okay.
Okay. Let's make some kind of library recognition, look into if places do, since the district does it, I don't see why the library couldn't have a little small budget for a couple of luncheons or breakfasts or something at a staff meeting.
The school district is a little different in the sense that it does serve food also. So
Oh,
it's
so they
probably
can-
a lot more affordable, but it still costs money. Whether it's $100 or $1,000, it still costs money to throw it. So,
Maybe when you're talking with Scott at some point, you can just ask, is there any legal impediment to us trying to do something like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, a couple times a year, doing some kind of staff recognition lunch or something like that.
Because there's no guidance from Solano on that.
Okay,
Yeah, there's nothing in the policies, because the first year I was here, we had budgeted some money for a Christmas party, and then this whole thing came up where we heard that Solano was like cracking down on that kind of stuff, and so we just didn't do anything. We haven't done one since.
No, one year Joe put it back in again, but we didn't do anything with
Yeah, I
it.
remember Joe bringing it up,
Yeah.
but we really never had guidance as to whether it was something that we should be doing with
And
the
the
money.
employees were kind of looking forward to it, too.
okay. Well, can we ask Scott Scott would know, right, if we're allowed to do that?
Okay.
Let's check with Scott and see if we can do something like that, because,
or it could just be a pool party at my house.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
And I'll barbecue for you guys.
John will pay for all the burgers.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna table that. All right,
Okay.
moving on to approval of the minutes.
no comments? I said no comments. I don't have any comments about that.
Oh, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. I was just,
I thought you made plenty of them.
sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Do we need to approve them? Okay,
I'm looking for an approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Perfect.